First at 9 this Sunday, the 18th of August, 2024. The Global South speaks, boosting economic cooperation and regional integration from Japan to India, while focusing on strengthening ties with India crucial, highlights the President. Blunt talwar of justice. Staff of hospitals and clinics across India protest, demanding swift justice for the brutal rape and murder of the 31-year-old postgraduate student. The rain check. Prevailing rainfall expected to recede from the 21st of August, notes the Department of Meteorology. Many areas remain inundated due to the heavy downpours across the island. The presidential standoff. SJB's Sajith Premadasa promises a transparent investigation into the Easter Sunday attack. NPP's Anurukumara Disanayaka pledges to bring in Arjuna Mahendran for questioning over his involvement in the bond scam. Will make Hambantota a naval and aviation hub, says SLPP's presidential candidate Namal Rajpaksha. Sarvajana Balaya's Dilip Jayavira expresses confidence in his strategic framework aimed at creating a happy nation.
ඔබේ විශ්වාසය දිනු සෙන්සුරයින් දැන් ළඟමැති ෆාමසියෙන් ලබාගත හැක.
This is Ada Derana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to Ada Derana First at 9. I'm Aditya Drisingha joining you live with the latest in Sri Lanka and around the world. Now taking you straight to your top story this evening, President Ranil Wickremesinghe highlighted the importance of bolstering economic cooperation and regional integration from Japan to India, with a special focus on strengthening ties with neighbouring India. He added that the vision statement shared between the two nations will lead to strong integration between Sri Lanka and India across various sectors. Virtually attending a head of state session yesterday, the President emphasized that the country will be finalizing the comprehensive economic and technological agreement, which enhances the country's knowledge and technology, paving the way towards a digital economy.
Themed An Empowered Global South for a Sustainable Future, the head of state session of the Third Voice of Global South Summit was held virtual yesterday. The conference, chaired by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, brought together heads of state from across the world.
We have arrived at a point where the West is no longer able to dominate the global leadership and have become a part of the problem. Sri Lanka has reached agreement with the official creditor committees, the Export-Import Bank of China, the IMF, World Bank and the ADB to emerge from a bankruptcy status. I must acknowledge the generosity of Prime Minister Modi and India, which generous contribution made it possible for us to survive the 2 years of bankruptcy which imposed a burden on our people. The vision statement, which we agreed to by both of us, which outlines the path for closer relations between our two countries and strengthens the cooperation which has a history of 2000 years. And this will finally lead to closer integration between our two countries in many sectors. We will be finalizing the comprehensive economic and technological agreement, the cooperation. We will also be inaugurating connectivity in power and in regard to transport and land. We will be looking at the development of the Trincomalee Harbour amongst other projects that we have agreed herein. It will also help us to upgrade our knowledge of and our technology, enabling us to move towards a digital economy. I must thank India for the assistance that has been given to us. The Bay of Bengal, we are becoming a growth center and BIMSTEC is becoming more important. Sri Lanka, while being a member of the BIMSTEC with our closer economic integration with India, also seeks membership in the RCEP, enabling us to have economic cooperation agreements from Japan to India. We realize that the Bay of Bengal is essential for our economies to develop. The post-1989 era, we started with the collapse of the Soviet Union, which were dominated by such views as the clash of civilization and the end of history, which highlighted the dominance of the Western system, as is now coming to an end. This summit and the other similar summits, the expansion of the BRICS, the expansion of G20 will enable a new order to emerge in which the Global South will have a bigger say.
Horizon Campus 2024 Intake 2. Register now.
Crunchy goodness for hunger on the go.
Now, Acting Assistant Secretary for State for Oceans and International Environmental and Scientific Affairs of the United States, Jennifer R. Littlejohn, is expected to visit Sri Lanka tomorrow. During her 3-day visit to Sri Lanka, Jennifer R. Littlejohn is expected to hold discussions with government officials and partners. She will also visit US-supported wildlife protection projects and explore opportunities for connecting Sri Lankans with US experts in priority areas such as hydrography and climate change. Following her visit to Sri Lanka, the US Assistant Secretary of State for Oceans and International Environmental Scientific Affairs will also be visiting India from the 21st of August to the 28th and Maldives from the 28th of August to the 30th of August.
Crunchy goodness for hunger on the go.
Now, as low-level atmospheric disturbance in the vicinity of Sri Lanka continues to persist with heavy rainfall reported from many areas island-wide, the Department of Meteorology forecasts rainfall exceeding 75 millimeters in areas in the western and Sabaragama provinces tomorrow. Meanwhile, the National Building Research Organization issued early landslide warnings to many areas across 6 districts throughout Sri Lanka. So far, harsh flood waters prompted by the torrential downpours have claimed 1 life.
Due to the low-level atmospheric disturbance around Sri Lanka's vicinity, many areas across the country continue to receive heavy rainfall throughout the day. Algama in Kegol received the highest rainfall during the past 24 hours, recording a rainfall of 148.5 millimeters. According to the Department of Irrigation, the water capacity of the river Kuda, a tributary of the Kalu River, has risen at the Millakanda area, prompting major floods. Similarly, the department added that the water capacity of the Maguru River, another tributary of the river Kalu, has also risen, leading to minor inundations in the Maguru area. Meanwhile, the irrigation department noted that the threat of floods looms over the Putupaula and Ratnapura areas as the Kalu River's water level continues to rise, while the water level of the river again has risen, threatening floods in Bagdegama. In other inclement weather-related updates, several roads including the Karavita Main Road through Ratnapura, Ratwala Road and the Guinea Road remained inundated owing to the overflowing of the Angamo Reservoir. The inundation disrupted traffic along those roads. In the meantime, a 32-year-old individual's life was snatched away by the harsh floodwaters in Meegahat and Nagorakaduwa. Taking the prevailing weather patterns into consideration, the National Building Research Organization issued early landslide warnings to areas covering 6 districts.
The issued landslide early warning message has been extended to 16 hours tomorrow. With that, warning level 3 evacuation red notice was issued to Ingiri and Burat Singhana Division 2nd Division Kaltara District, Kalabana, Ahiligoda and Elapada Division 2nd Division Ratnapura District. And warning level 2 alert amber warning was issued to Yakkalamudla, LPTA, Nelu and Nagoda Division 2nd Division Gold District, Horana and Matugama Division 2nd Division Kaltura District, Varakapala, Yatiantota, Daranegada, Bulat Kaupitiya, Wanwella and Dehiovita Division 2nd Division Kegol District, Pitabettara Division 2nd Division Matra District, Kirialla, Ratnapura, Nevitigala, Kuruvita and Aigama Division 2nd Division Ratnapura District. Warning level 1 watch yellow warning was issued to Sitavaka Division 2nd Division Kalambu District, Agalabatta, Dodangoda, Palindanura and Valalavita Division 2nd Division Kaltura District, Galigamua, Kegol and Aranayaka Division 2nd Division Kegol District, Aturlia Division 2nd Division Matra District, Palmadula Division 2nd Division Ratnapura District, Amangama Korle Division 2nd Division Norele District.
Further, the Department of Meteorology forecasts that it expects heavy rainfall exceeding 75 millimeters in the western and Sabaragama provinces as well as in the Gaul and Matra districts throughout the day.
Rains are expected to persist until the 20th of August. A significant decrease in rainfall can be expected after the 21st of this month. In your political news, leader of the opposition Sajith Premadasa assures that he will abolish the executive presidency once he assumes the president's office at the other end of the presidential poll this year. Meanwhile, visiting the Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjith, the opposition leader assures to launch a thorough and transparent investigation to uncover the truth behind the Easter Sunday massacre.
A public rally in support of the presidential candidate of the Samagi Janasandhana, Sajith Premadasa, was held today in Ruwanwala. The rally was attended by parliamentarians representing both the Samagi Janabalawega and the Samagi Janasandhana.
On the 21st of September, we will establish a new era ending the hardships encountered by the people. We will not give you fake assurances claiming to grant 1,700 rupees or 2,000 rupees for the estate communities. However, a program is currently underway to direct the unemployed youth of this country to become owners of small-scale tea estates. That will pave the way for the development of the country's tea production. The president of the country who supported the Rajapaksas in the past and the party that led the country to bankruptcy continues to support the Rajapaksa family at the moment. He claims that I fled scene during the aftermath of the people's struggle. I've never nominated different candidates for the presidency to hold the top position within the party. So many people have advocated for changes in the presidential system that exists at the moment. However, nobody actually changed anything. I'm not attached to any positions in politics. I assure you that I will definitely abolish the country's executive presidency. Following that, we will create a democratic government centered around the country's parliament.
Meanwhile, the opposition leader visited the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Colombo today to seek blessings for the 2024 presidential election.
We have already presented the plan to uncover the truth behind the Easter Sunday attacks. We will conduct a thorough and a transparent investigation into the matters concerning the Easter Sunday attack. The investigation will inquire into those involved in the massacre and also delve into how it happened. I assure you that I will look into all those matters.
SLPP's presidential candidate Namal Rajapaksa claims that he will revive efforts to crown Hambantota as a hub of aviation and naval affairs in South Asia. He made those remarks during his visit to the Tissa Maharama Raja Mahavihara today.
SLPP's presidential candidate Namal Rajapaksa visited the Tissa Maharama Raja Mahavihara to invoke blessings today, along with several other lawmakers including Chama Rajapaksa and State Minister of Power and Energy D.V. Chanaka.
We implemented measures to turn Hambantota into an aviation and naval hub. Unfortunately, the Good Governance government put an end to those measures. After the 22nd of September, we expect to turn Hambantota into South Asia's hub of aviation and naval affairs once again, creating close to 1 million direct and indirect employment opportunities. What matters more than a politician's decision is the public's political decision. My dealings are only with the people.
Subsequently, the SLPP's presidential candidate visited the Muhyiddin Juma Masjid Mosque in Dikwala and the Deundara Shri Vishnu Kovil in the Dondra Head. The SLPP's presidential candidate also attended the opening ceremony of his election operations office in Mathura. The SLPP's presidential candidate also attended the opening ceremony of his election operations office in Mathura.
This is your election. This is the political movement that you trust. This is the party of your beloved leader. Let's work to ensure that the policies we believe in win in the upcoming election. The SLPP will definitely win this election. Even though higher-ups change their allegiances for positions and privileges, our loyalists in the grassroots remain with us. They can come back to us at any time. Now, leader of the National People's Power, Anurukumara Dissanayake, pledged to bring Arjuna Mahendran, who is currently hiding in Singapore after his alleged involvement in the central bank bond scam, back to Sri Lanka and ensure he provides his testimony in court after the NPP comes into power. Meanwhile, addressing the NPP's Kiribati rally supporting Anura Dissanayaka's presidential candidacy, the NPP's National Executive Member Vijitha Herath highlighted that the NPP will eradicate political pole vaulting from Sri Lanka's politics after the presidential polls on the 21st of September.
The National People's Power rally in support of the NPP's presidential candidate and leader Anurukumara Dissanayake was held this afternoon in Kiribati.
Nalaka Gudaheva, who was a member of the SLPP, now supports Sajid Premadasa shamelessly. Those who pole vault between parties say they do so on behalf of the country, like Rishad, Dayasiri and Prasanna. However, they actually swap their allegiances not in the interest of the country, but to satisfy their political hunger. Champika Ranavaka, who is now on Sajid's stage, has been vested with the responsibility of attacking the NPP. How many times did Patali Champika Ranavaka change his political affiliations? He boasted that he could walk alone under the banner of a newly formed party. However, after he failed miserably, he tried to see if Ranil Wickremesinghe would give him a chance. We heard that Ranil denied him permission to contest from Colombo while offering him the opportunity to contest from Gampaha. Patali Champika Ranavaka can never win if he contests from Gampaha. Since he knows that he can never win from Gampaha, he allied himself with Sajid Premadasa. We will completely eradicate this political pole vaulting from Sri Lanka's politics after the 21st of September.
I will say one thing that we will definitely do if I am elected to office. We will bring Arjuna Mahendran, who stands accused of being involved in the central bank bond scam, back to Sri Lanka. Arjuna Mahendran is hiding in Singapore at the moment since he has a red notice issued against him by the courts. Arjuna Mahendran gave a statement before the Committee on Public Enterprises claiming that it was Ranil Wickremesinghe who instructed him regarding the particular deal in question, since he was the subject minister in charge of the central bank at the time. Mahinda Rajapaksa chased Arjuna Mahendran out of the country. He questioned us on what we are going to do. We'll bring Arjuna Mahendran back and ensure that he provides his testimony in court. Mahinda Rajapaksa will subsequently be summoned to the court. We were expecting to implement that plan without much publicity. However, we cannot stay silent when they question us on it.
Now in other political news, presidential candidate of the Sarvajana Balaya Alliance and leader of the Maubima Janata Party, Dilip Jayavira, proposes the establishment of an authority on national strategic framework planning under the strategic framework proposed by his alliance. He believes that this proposal is capable of achieving national priorities and objectives within a specified time period. He made those comments while addressing a gathering that was attended by intellectuals and entrepreneurs at the Maubima Janata Party headquarters in Colombo.
The presidential election has been announced. Sajid Premadasa, Ranil Wickremesinghe, Anurakumara Dissanayaka and Namal Rajapaksa are contesting. All of those candidates held cabinet portfolios in the past. Once Anurakumara was a powerful cabinet minister. He held massive power through his portfolio of agriculture compared to other agriculture ministers in the past. The situation with Namal Rajapaksa is also the same. He held 5 ministerial portfolios. Those very same people proposed changes to be made in this country. Anurakumara is the biggest fraudster. Indirectly, he has supported each and every government. He has directly served in 2 governments. The proportionate representation system was one of the factors behind the spread of corruption in this country. Other than objecting to the proposals introduced, have they introduced at least one proposal to change this corrupt political system? No, because they are also a part of this corrupt political system. Ranil Wickremesinghe, under the guise of the symbol gas cylinder, is trying to secure votes by instilling fear in the people while highlighting the possibility of gas queues forming in the future. He is supported by those who created gas queues. Sajid Premadasa mentioned a list of proposals to change the education system. However, he did not have a proper agenda to that end. Anurakumara said fuel prices will be reduced under their government formed. He said the VAT imposed on stationery items will be reduced. Do we need a president to do that? Is this what a president should tell his people? If this is what they continue to say, the system must definitely change. That is why we presented the second draft of our strategic framework to intellectuals like all of you. The most important concept of the framework is the establishment of an authority on national strategic framework planning. What we propose is a central authority that facilitates the achievement of national priorities and objectives within a specific period of time. The country requires this authority to ensure that the ministers do not act the way they want. We expect strategic frameworks of this nature from all presidential candidates. We do not expect them to deceive people through their traditional methods.
මෙවැනි සංකල්ප එලියට ගන්න මිසක් අර පරණ පුරුදු විදියටම මිනිස්සු රවට්ටන එක නෙමෙයි.
The National Committee of the Ceylon Workers' Congress has decided to support incumbent President Ranil Wickremesinghe in the upcoming presidential election. With that, let's take a look at some thoughts shared in the political arena as the election heat builds up.
We had decided that we will be supporting His Excellency the President Ranil Wickremesinghe in his bid for candidacy of the 2024 presidential election, and it is also subject to a memorandum of understanding. All the thoughts and opinions provided by our valuable members will be taken into account in that MOU.
රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්මයා වතාවක් නෙවෙයි දෙවතාවක් වැටිච්ච රට ගොඩනගලා තියෙනවා. අද පෙට්‍රල් පොලින් තියෙනවද? තෙල් පොලින් තියෙනවද? ගෑස් පොලින් තියෙනවද? බෙහෙත් වල හිඟයක් තියෙනවද? එහෙනම් ඒ තත්ත්වයෙන් මේ රට මුදවගත්තු නායකයව කෙසෙල් ගෙඩියක් කාලා වගේ ලෙල්ල විසි කරලා වගේ විසි කරන එක ලාංකිකයන්ට කරන්න පුළුවන් දෙයක්ද?
අද ආණ්ඩුව කියනවා තෙල් පොලින් නැහැ, කරන්ට් කපන්නේ නැහැ නේද? ගෑස් පොලිම නැහැ, අර පොලිම නැහැ, මේ පොලිම නැහැ කියලා කියනවා. ඇත්ත. දැන් පොලින් නැති වුණාට ඕගොල්ලන්ට තුන් වේල කන්න පුළුවන්ද? ඒ නිසා ආදරණීය අම්මේ තාත්තේ රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහා ලොකු දෙයක් කරේ නැහැ. ඒ නිසා ඔබට වඩා හොඳ අනාගතයක්, ඔබට වඩා හොඳ ජීවිතයක් රණසිංහ ප්‍රේමදාසගේ පුතාගේ ආණ්ඩුවෙන් ජනතාවට අපි ලබා දෙනවා කියන එක මම කියන්න ඕන.
එයා සන්දානයක් ගැහුවා, අලුතෙන් එකතු වෙච්ච කවුරුත් නැහැ. හැබැයි සන්දානෙට ලොක්ක වෙනකොට පොඩ්ඩෝ മന്ത്രിවරු මෙහි. දැන් අපි දැක්ක රිෂාඩ් බදුදීන් යන සන්දානෙට. එයාගේ තුන්දෙනාම ගැලවිලා රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහයන් ළඟට ආවා. ඊළඟට අපි දැක්ක මුස්ලිම් කොංග්‍රසයේ නායකයා එහෙට ගිහිල්ලා අස්සම් කරනවා. මුස්ලිම් කොංග්‍රසයේ තුන්දෙනෙක් ගැලවිලා රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහයන්ට එකතු වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඒක නිසා ඒගොල්ලෝ මේ නායකයෝ ගිහිල්ලා සන්දාන හදනකොට മന്ത്രിවරු සහ ජනතාව රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහයන් ළඟට එකතු වෙන බව හරිම පැහැදිලියි.
වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්තයාගේ බොරු ටිකයි අනුර දිසානායක මහත්තයාගේ කවි ටිකයි අපේ රටේ ආර්ථික ප්‍රශ්නේ විසඳනවයි කියලා සමහරු හිතාගෙන ඉන්නවා. මේක පට්ටපල් බොරුවක්. ඒ නිසා මේකෙන් අපි එළියට යන්න අපිට වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඒ නිසා මිත්‍රවරුනි අපේ රටේ මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ විසඳන්න සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මැතිතුමාගේ මූලිකත්වයෙන් හදන ආණ්ඩුවට වැඩපිළිවෙලක් තියෙනවා, නායකත්වයක් තියෙනවා, කණ්ඩායමක් ඉන්නවා.
Star dishwasher දැලි තෙල් ඉඳුල් පහසුවෙන් සේදේ. Star dishwasher magic tub එක.
Welcome back. Now, the chairman of the Sri Lanka Tourism Promotion Bureau, Chalaka Gajabahu, revealed that plans are underway to launch a separate campaign to showcase what Sri Lanka can offer the world, which will include promotion of the Ramayana and the Buddhist trails. He made those comments while addressing a media briefing in Colombo. Meanwhile, the Tourism Promotion Bureau's Managing Director, Nalin Pereira, highlighted that Sri Lanka has huge potential for tourism in meetings, incentives, conferences and events, dubbed MICE Tourism, and noted that the contribution from MICE Tourism to Sri Lanka has seen an increase from 4% to 10%.
We want to create separate campaigns after we launch the main digital campaign for the positioning of the country is to work on other subcategories. For example, Ramayana Trail is a very successful story, but then it's not being from a state point of view. We need to give a lot of attention. And at the same time, the Buddhist Trail is another important segment because Buddhist population comes from China, then countries like Myanmar, India, Thailand, Taiwan, a lot of countries, and even in Europe and Korea and Japan. So we need to create that impact as well, because if you look at, a lot of Sri Lankans travel to India for the Buddhist Trail. But then have we created a platform for the international tourists to do the Buddhist Trail in Sri Lanka? So that's going to be a very key factor coming next year. And we want to do an event calendar for the country. There are a lot of our parades, our peraharas. For example, the Nallur festival is another key factor. So all those will be put into a proper map, proper event calendar as well. As you know, the ferry services are starting for the north. I heard that a lot of South Indian flights are coming into the north as well. Recently, the CNN rated Jaffna, the north, as one of the top 20 hidden treasures in the world. So we need to take all that into impact. It's not only the south, not only the central of Sri Lanka. We need to look at the east and the north as well. So all that will be subcategorized going forward when we launch the main campaign and go into subcategories next year.
During the last 2 years, when we took over, the contribution from the MICE market was only 4%. But now we have been able to increase that to about 10%. We were able to very successfully conduct 3 MICE programs, one in Colombo, one in north, one in down south, which was very successfully completed. And in addition to that, we have implemented in the visa system to specifically identify who is coming on MICE that kind of category. So the potential for MICE market is immense. And like currently, the reason why we had these 3 regional events is to ensure that whatever the future traffic that we are getting, we purposely put them into some of the suburbs also. So thereby the development in tourism will happen right across the country rather than concern concentrating only in Colombo. Most of the airlines for the next few months have increased their frequency to Sri Lanka, which is a good sign, and there'll be 1 or 2 new airlines that will start as well. So that shows the potential of our destination and the confidence most of the airlines have in Sri Lanka.
And now some corporate news in brief. Fitch Ratings has confirmed Hayleys PLC's national long-term rating of AAA with a stable outlook. It has also affirmed the AAA rating of the company's outstanding ₹3 billion senior unsecured debentures. Fitch noted that Hayleys' rating reflects its large operating scale and diversification across several prominent businesses, and added that Hayleys' significant export earnings drive its sustainable operating cash flow despite temporary challenges in some segments. Fitch Ratings forecasts Hayleys' financial profile to remain commensurate with its rating over the next 2 years. Meanwhile, Winforce PLC announced an 87% surge in earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation and amortization, reaching ₹1.95 billion from the first quarter of the 2024-25 fiscal year, a significant leap from the ₹1 billion earned in the same period last year. The group's consolidated revenue for the quarter rose to ₹1.56 billion, marking a 28% increase from ₹1.22 billion in the previous year. Net profits also rose 27% to ₹652 million, up from $514 million recorded in the first quarter of last year. In other corporate news, Commercial Bank of Ceylon PLC announced that it has successfully completed the largest rights issue to date by a bank in Sri Lanka, raising ₹22.54 billion to increase the Tier 1 and total capital of the bank to accommodate and facilitate future business growth. The bank offered holders of ordinary voting as well as non-voting shares an issue of 1 equivalent share for every 5 shares held at ₹85 per ordinary voting share and ₹69 per non-voting share, and has notified the Colombo Stock Exchange that the rights issue has been oversubscribed. The bank said it has received applications for 266,079,848 ordinary voting shares to the value of ₹22.616 billion and 17,346,959 ordinary non-voting shares to the value of ₹1.196 billion at the conclusion of the rights issue. And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Ada Derana First at 9. Stay in touch with us on www.adaderana.lk for the latest developments around the clock. Thank you. Have a great night.
For news and information you can trust 24 hours a day, visit adaderana.lk.